If you're under the age of 18, the content of this video is not intended for you. Please stop watching now. Hey YouTube, it's Audrey, and I'm here for another Work With It Wednesday. And this Work With It Wednesday is also an answer to a little challenge that I had with Tamika, who scrapped the world. We had challenged each other to do something. She challenged me to do something on my to-do list or something that I wanted to do, and just hadn't done it and crossed that off the list. And then I challenged her to cook a meal, a small size meal just for herself that she likes, because her family doesn't necessarily like the things that she likes. So she posted the other day on her Instagram what she made. And so this is what I'm doing it, and I'm just doing a twofer. I'm combining it with Work With It Wednesday because I needed an idea for it. Now, I have had a lot of this stuff for, some of it close to 2 years, some of it a year, but I have never used it. So I am working today with flour foam. So flour forming foam is what Crafter's Companion calls it. I also have some that is from Heartfelt Creations, but I have not yet tried that either. So I'm going to show you what I used. I'm going to show you some flowers. And again, I'm going to do just a not a full tutorial, but just to show you how things work. I'm going to show you what I did with the flowers, because I did something a little different than just the normal. I caught an idea in watching one of the Crafter's Companion videos, and I decided to try it. So anyway, I'm using pretty much Crafter's Companion products, but I am using the Heartfelt Rock Candy Stamens simply because I have ones from Crafter's Companion, but number one, they don't have any glitter ones, and number two, I don't have any black ones that they had, so I am using these black glitter crystals. So I'm using that. And these are the types of dyes that are the flower forming dyes. They're a little different than other dyes in that they don't emboss. You won't have any embossing at all on them. And they're just plain and open. And then they have slits in them to make the flower petals. So that's how you could tell. Usually they're just an outline with the cut lines for the flowers. I have a couple other ones I'll show you here. And as you can see, they're all flat and open with just the outlines and the cut lines. So these are ideal for it. I really don't know if you can use other regular flower dyes. I suppose you can, but and the things that I was watching on Crafter's Companion videos, they were like pretty much you should have better opportunity, a better outcome working with the ones that are just the plain. So a couple other things they do have too. This one is actually a pine cone, and you can see on the pictures. Now I'm going to use this for fall, but I wanted to show you there are other things that you could do with the foam. There's ivy leaves, and then these are regular leaves. So those are some of the products that I used. The foam, I used the yellow, and then I used a white one out of this pack. So let me show you my flowers. These are two of the ones that I have made. And as you can see, they're a little different in size. And what happens to the foam is that the foam shrinks when you heat it. So you could use an iron or a travel iron. I've seen some people use the little coffee cup warmers. But I also saw people using, when I was looking at videos, I saw people using heat guns. And so on Crafter's Companion, they do some of both, depending on who it is that is making the flowers. But I made these in the two-tone, and then I used these cute little blings for the centers that I got from AliExpress. So basically with this one, these are the pieces. And they get staticky, and I'll tell you what, they'll pick up dust, glitter, anything that you have on your mat, they will pick it up. So you can just kind of brush it off before you heat it. But this is what these started off like. And I'll show you just quickly just what it looks like when it gets heat on them. So I'm going to use the heat tool and move all these out of the way because they will blow all over. And I use something to hold it down in the center. And then once you start to heat it, once it heats up, it starts to curl and shrink. So depending on how much you heat it is how much it curls and shrinks. So then you can use this and these tools, which are, you know, everybody's saying flower shaping tools if you've watched flower videos. So you can do this and shape them to make them that way while it's warm. You could also shape them and stretch them that way too if you like. And there are plenty of videos on this kind of thing, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but I just kind of wanted to show you what happens to the foam when it heats up if you had not seen it. So again, depending on how long you heat it, it will curl and shrink. And then you could use flower shaping tools to finish it out. And then basically once you do that with all of them, then you layer them up and you glue them with hot glue in between if you want. You can also put, you know, any kind of bling in the center. You could put prills in the center, stamens, whatever you like. So that's the first one I made. And that one was pretty straightforward. But I did one that is a little different after I saw a demo on Crafter's Companion. And so this is the second version that I've made. And I embossed the edges. So actually I ink the edges first and then I embossed them. And then I used the rock candy stamens in the center. And then layered it. And then on the back of each, because on the back of this one also, I cut out little circles and glued them to the circle so they have a little base so people can use them and stick them on whatever. So this one, I'll show you right quickly what I did. I used, in this case, Delicata ink, and that's what the coloration is there. Now, if you use, this one was not as juicy as some of the other pads, so it did not, it takes a minute to get it inked. Let's just put it that way. But all I do is I take this dauber and I'm just daubing it until I get it pretty saturated as I can. And this ink pad is one that is unfortunately kind of dry because I haven't really used it. I actually think I opened it just for this, but it had some glitter to it, so that was kind of why I used it. And of course it was black. And you need an ink that's going to stay wet. So a pigment ink usually stays wetter longer to allow you to emboss it. So I just keep going till I get the kind of color that I want. And I don't try not to stretch it too much, but you might, if you're twisting, it might stretch a little bit. But I just keep on. I need to get it saturated enough to where the embossing powder will stick to it. And as I said, this is a lot easier if you have a pad that is juicier than this one. This one is sort of dried out, but I'm working with it. I started with it and I'm making several flowers, so I need to kind of keep it going since I made the first one that way. And I probably did a little bit more than what I needed to. On the other ones, I will do more on the edges instead of like the whole petal. So then you just sprinkle, as you've all seen, your embossing powder on it. Everybody who's watched videos with embossing powder knows how that goes. Then just pick it up carefully, shake it off. I always try and put my embossing powder back in right away so that it don't lose any of it. Move that over here, move this over here, and get in frame. And try and use something to hold it with. And again, it's like regular embossing. You heat it up and it gets hot and it shrinks. And then you just want to let it sit there for a minute because it is embossing powder and it is hot. It needs to cool off for a second or two. And then basically that's how I do that, and that's the look that you get. I use clear embossing powder, but if you wanted to, maybe instead of inking, you could use Versamark and then use a colored embossing powder. So I might be able to do the same effect with Versamark and then using black embossing powder. It will probably be a deeper black to it. So this is what it looks like. Hopefully you're able to see the shine, and it kind of beads up a little bit. And then basically you would just do that to all 3 layers, stack them up, poke a hole through the center, and then add your stamens, and then you end up with this. There are a bunch of other things that you could do, and there are a lot of videos out there that you could watch for the work, to show you how to do the flower forming. And there's other tools, and I have one other one that I wanted to share. This one is from Crafter's Companion. This is a petal distress toolkit. So if you want to distress your petals, you can, after you heat them, fold them over, roll them up, put this on, and just roll it over this board. And that kind of distresses them, gives you that really crinkly look. So that's another option. So lots of options out there, lots of videos out there, but I just kind of wanted to do this because it's something that I have been saying I was going to do and just hadn't taken it on. And then also I wanted to just show those who haven't seen videos just a little bit of how it works. So again, here's another Work With It Wednesday. I do them always on the last Wednesday of every month. I started it in January, and I will just keep going until I either run out of new things. I try and focus on tools or specialty items that are different, although sometimes I might use a specialty die, some mixed media things, just different things that I have bought that I have not used and need to learn how to use. So I invite all of you to play along with me. I'll have the hashtag Work With It Wednesday on it down below, and I invite you to join me. It doesn't have to be on a Wednesday. You can do it anytime, but the point is you just want to use your stuff. You bought it, you have it, make use of it. So thank you for watching, and you all have a great and a very blessed day. Bye-bye.